Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Alison, the online piano and the online violin tutor. So this video is part 3 of reasons why your bow might be bouncing or shaking on the violin. It seems to be a very large issue that a lot of you suffer with, so I want to address that. Now, I've already covered 6 points in 2 previous videos, 3 in part 1, 3 in part 2. I would say it's mostly cumulative information. So go and watch part 1, go and watch part 2 before you watch this one, part 3, because it's probably not going to make sense. You need to have kind of knocked the first 6 off the list first before you kind of start going into this one. Otherwise it's not, it's a little bit too fragmented. So before we do go any further with this video, I just want to welcome all my new subscribers and anybody that is new to my channel. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. But for those of you that are new and do not know, I have a 1 to 30 violin course. I just very quickly just want to grab your attention and tell you about that, because I know how hard it is to learn to play the violin and you don't know where to start. You go into Google or YouTube and you type in how to play the violin and you get reams of videos that come up all trying to tell you how to play the violin. But then you'll go and watch that video, it'll tell you one thing, you'll go and watch another video, it'll tell you something else, and then you can end up getting a little bit confused because you're not following a methodology, you're not following a proper course, and you just scattergunning, and then you end up, I don't know, you end up then searching individual videos to kind of overcome the problems. Whereas if you follow a structured course and follow someone that is teaching a properly manufactured and structured course, like myself, then you're not going to encounter so many problems and having to kind of go around all the internet and hunt those videos down. So if I can just grab your attention for the next 1 to 2 minutes, and if you could just indulge me, then I just wanted to quickly tell you about my 1 to 30 violin course. And obviously don't forget, the best part of my 1 to 30 violin course is that the first 10 lessons, all the resources and everything you need that goes with the first 10 lessons is absolutely free. So you can try before you buy, you can try the first 10 lessons before you pay any money out to my course to see if you like it, see if the way I teach, see how you get on in the first 10 lessons. But I guarantee you will be coming back for more and you will be buying the rest of the course, because it really is a fantastic course, an accumulation of what, 25 years of private teaching. So my 1 to 30 violin course is a fully comprehensive and professional course that guarantees to take you from a complete beginner to an accomplished intermediate level by the end of it. The course is very simple and is very easy to understand without the commitment of an in-person tutor, but it guarantees to give you the same level of skill that you would actually get from a private tutor. The lessons are easy to follow with videos that accompaniment, and you don't need any prior knowledge of music, as the course has been designed that anyone of any age and level can follow it. The course covers everything from how to hold the bow and the violin, how to read music, technical exercises to improve your skill and dexterity, music theory, bowing exercises, more complex pieces, and so much more. There really is no other course like this available on the internet worldwide, and the results and reviews do speak for themselves. My course will take you from this and at the end of it, I guarantee you'll be playing like this. downloadable worldwide and is available from my shop at www.amsmusicshop.com, and it is priced at a one-time fee of $59.99 US. So as soon as you purchase, you can get started straight away. All you will need before you start is your violin and enthusiasm. And very quickly, just before we do jump into the rest of the video, I just want to mention my Patreon site that I have and my own website subscription site. They're both exactly the same. It's kind of either or. They're both priced at $10 a month. You both get access to, I think it's around about 800 sheets of violin music that have just been accumulated on my channel over the last kind of 10-11 years that I've been on here. You'll also get access to violin backing tracks, easy piano music. There's some private blogs that are there, a community forum. There's lots of things available on both Patreon and my website subscription. But as I say, both are at the same price. I'll put some details underneath so you can have a look and get more information. But it is one of, if not the only place on the internet that you can get access for literally so much violin music for such a small amount of money. Okay then, so point number 7. 2/10 with the bow hold. Now, if you're not holding the bow properly, then obviously you're not going to be getting any decent sound out of it. But if you're gripping too much with the bow, everything is just a bit too rigid, you're not going to have control. And again, it all goes back to control with the point 4, 5 and 6 that I was mentioning in part 2 of this video. That's linked below this one, by the way. But if your bow grip is too rigid, you don't have control. So a lot of this is all about control, and it's just about knocking each one off the list and seeing if that kind of does or doesn't apply to you. So if you're too rigid, even down at the heel, so remember I think it was point 5 or 6 I was talking about in part 2, where I was saying about playing in the wrong part in the bow and doing down bows. You're okay to do down bows at the heel of the bow, but if your bow grip is too rigid, you still can't do it, because it's going to interfere with the pressure, which is what we talked about in part 2, and it's going to interfere with the weight, which is what we talked about in part 2. So this is why I just urge you to go and watch part 1 and 2 before you watch this one, otherwise this one's partly not going to make sense. So if your grip is too tense, you're not going to have that kind of control that we talked about in part 2, but also it's going to be too rigid, so it's got that in itself is going to cause you a lot of bounce. Number 8, your elbow is not up. So I did kind of briefly explain this, I think it is in part 1, and again in part 2 as well, which is partly pressure. Your elbow needs to be up as well, because it's all going to be part of the weight. There's no point just having your wrist up and your elbow down, because again it's got to come as a whole package. Elbow up, wrist up, everything is higher than the bow. So again, if you're doing this, but you're thinking, oh, she said I've got to get my wrist up and then I'm going to get my full weight behind the bow, but also the elbow needs to be up as well. So don't forget, the elbow is an extension. We always forget the elbow. We just think of our wrist being up, so don't forget the elbow too. And point 9, the very last one at all, staying perpendicular to the violin. So you want to make sure that you are staying like this. So we don't want to be like this, we don't want to be like that, we don't want to be bowing like that, we're not sawing a piece of wood, we're playing the violin. So we want to stay nice and straight to the bow. Nice and straight to the violin. We want the bow to be nice and straight to the violin. When we're kind of glossing around all over the strings, we're going to get a bit of bounce because it's moving around. The strings are at different tensions. The bow is slightly different. Everything is a little bit different depending on where we're playing, and we know that because when we play here, we get a different sound. When we play here, we get a different sound. When we play here, we get a different sound. So everywhere the bow is on the strings, we get a different sound. So it would make sense that we get a different feel from the bow as well. So depending on where you are, you're going to get slightly more or less bounce. So trying to keep the bow straight on the violin is going to go a long way in helping you to sort out your bouncing and your shaking. So there we go. That is now 9 whole reasons why your bow might be bouncing or shaking on the violin. So hopefully you've watched part 1, part 2, and this one, part 3 as well. Everything is all linked underneath this video. But let me know if you have tried all 9 of these and given them a good shot, not just like 5 minutes, but given them a good few weeks. Let me know if you're still having problems with the bow shake. Put them in the comments underneath and I'll see if I can think of any more reasons. But yeah, 9 reasons why your bow might be bouncing or shaking on the strings. Hopefully one of those 9 or some of those 9, whatever, have solved your issue. But generally speaking, bow bouncing does go away in time as you get more proficient at the violin. It doesn't help that your bow is shaking and bouncing. It can be very, very frustrating. So that's where you would go and look at those 9 points to see if there's something that you can correct here and now. But generally, I would say in my experience, it does go away, and it's got nothing to do with being nervous. Absolutely nothing to do with being nervous. I mean, there's 9 more reasons that that we now know of in part 1, 2, and 3 of this video that supersede being nervous. I mean, yes, absolutely, nervousness does equate to bow shaking, but that's a whole different thing. I mean, if you are at home practicing in your bedroom or your living room, whatever, nobody's there watching you, scrutinizing you, you are just doing a normal practice session, your bow is not going to be shaking because you're not going to be nervous. But if your bow is shaking, then it's another reason. But it's definitely not going to be shaking because you're nervous, because you're not going to be. If you are playing in front of people, then yes, a lot of that is probably going to be nerves. But suffice to say, check out those 9 reasons and let me know how you get on with them. Thank you very much for watching this video, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye.